Raw has finally arrived on Netflix. I always wanted WWE to be on Netflix because it provides a different experience and one that I've always appreciated. Internationally, SmackDown is available along with the pay-per-views, which is great, but this is a chance for them to do something different and begin a new era. WWE stacked this show and made it seem spectacular. Netflix is a great place for WWE because everything will feel seamless and simple. Raw airs live, and even when it comes to the episodes outside the US, so that should be nice. Let's not waste time. Let's get into it. Okay. Triple H, of course, started off the show. He definitely recited this promo in the mirror for a week. He was talking about how WWE is on Netflix now. He's hyping it up. And it was a funny thing. It was just funny. They got a Travis Scott song playing for Raw. It's unreleased, I believe. And then to top it all off, The Rock returned. The mana, the aura, the electricity radiating was overwhelming. It's always good to see Rock, especially this version of him. You know, like the final boss, he's here. At least that's what I thought when I was writing this down. It looks more like Luke Hobbs here as opposed to the final boss. Again, it's always a good thing to see The Rock, but this time it was a bit different. He hyped WWE on Netflix and even made a small mention of Cody Rhodes. But it seems like his attention is mostly with Roman Reigns, at least on paper. Again, that's what I thought. I thought his attention was on Roman Reigns, and the fans are going insane. You know, once they heard Roman Reigns, they're going crazy. The mentions with Cody Rhodes and Roman were mostly positive. That's the thing about it. Like, they were very positive. He wasn't even talking about their previous storylines. None of that. And even though he mentioned these two, it looks like he's not doing anything around this time. It's hard to tell, but only 3 people, including The Rock, know because this promo could have been from any other year and we wouldn't know. You know, that's the thing about it. And it does raise a lot of eyebrows, ironically. Is Rock going to work WrestleMania or not? We don't really know at this point. It does look doubtful now, but the Royal Rumble will probably give us more answers. Other than that, I will say it's always good to see The Rock. I was just hoping to see the final boss. It is what it is. He's of course got to hype up WWE on Netflix because it's the first episode, and that makes sense. It's just I thought they were going to explore some of those stories, but we don't really know if he's even going to be able to show up for WrestleMania. The first match on the show is Tribal Rules. Roman Reigns faced Solo Sikoa. Solo took the Ula Fala months ago feeling he's the new leader, but since Roman returned, he's been on a quest to regain it. It was always going to come down to the Ula Fala. Survivor Series felt like a finale, but because Roman never reclaimed it, it left things open. I heard the one fall chant here and it reminded me of the days when WWE used to get upset hearing it, which was dumb in itself. We had people chanting, "Fuck you, Solo," which I thought was crazy, but hey, that's Netflix for you, right? There was ads on here, but for the international viewers, they didn't really see much. Now, I thought this match was very just there, action-wise. The action was just there, you know, like it's not much you might see on a regular SmackDown main event, but it did feel like a finale. I will say that. It did feel like the end of the Solo arc, I'd say, because there might be more to the bloodline as it relates to Roman Reigns, but when it comes to Solo Sikoa, yeah, it looks like it's over. I will say, I really enjoyed the run-ins and stuff. It felt like they elevated the match a lot more and made it seem more dramatic, and I think that helped a lot. I personally thought those interferences, those near falls, those high spots helped the match a lot because there was some points where I actually thought there was a chance, even though it sounds stupid saying, that Solo Sikoa would beat Roman Reigns. We had Solo's guys coming in, Jacob Fatu making a mark, Sami Zayn, Jimmy Uso, and to top it all off, Kevin Owens came out. Kevin Owens coming out was a surprise but very logical because at the end of the day, he has issues with Cody Rhodes and the bloodline. He dropped him. Cody comes in, they have a brawl. This leaves Roman and Solo open. Anyone could win it at this point. They try to convince you maybe Solo wins it, but he doesn't. And it's Roman Reigns who reclaims the Ula Fala. Reigns reclaiming the Ula Fala was always going to be the end. That's like saying John Cena's going to win the end of the feud. We all know what's going to happen. Surprisingly, though, The Rock returned. Now, again, I didn't think The Rock would return here. I thought it was one and done, you know, the end of his night or whatever. He comes out and they do this crazy ass tease. He gives him the Ula Fala, stares at him, takes off the sunglasses, and I'm like, bro, is he gonna do something or not? He obviously didn't, but they kind of teased it there. They showed you that maybe, just maybe, there's something going on in the future. I think WWE sees it as, in order for Roman Reigns' career to be absolutely complete, he has to finish his story with The Rock. But again, we don't know Rock's status, but it does personally make me seem like it's going to happen in the near future. John Cena came out and cut a promo about WWE and Netflix before talking about his last run. Cena was talking about his potential opponents and even a potential title reign, but he wasn't confident. The man looked like he was craving it, but thought that he wasn't good enough. He hasn't won a match in almost 7 years. What makes him think he can win a match, let alone the Royal Rumble? Then mentioned the Royal Rumble. He can't win it if he doesn't play, and that was enough to unlock his confidence. He's back to his old self by the looks of it, and he's announced that he's gonna compete in the Royal Rumble. Good motivational promo here. It'll be good to see John Cena. You know, it's his final year. He's going to go out with a high by the looks of it. And they're trying to tell the story of Cena's going to start believing more and more as he inches closer towards a potential title match. I'm hyped for it. By the looks of it, he seems like he's going to go all out for this run. He looks like he's very interested and very locked in making this a very memorable run for himself because we haven't seen John Cena in about 8 years. There was that SummerSlam feud with Roman Reigns, but other than that, we haven't really seen John Cena in 8 years. I think he's going to ramp it up here for this one. You know, he looks confident. He looks ready. The next match is for the Women's World Championship. Liv Morgan defended the title against Rhea Ripley. This feud has been going on for too damn long, and it's about time they wrap it up. So, Judgment Day's had some problems recently between Liv Morgan and Finn Balor. They feel like they're not on the same page. They're losing a lot. They got a lot of issues, and this match might tie into that, but let's talk about it. Now, we don't usually see Rhea go all out in her matches. As a matter of fact, Rhea doesn't even wrestle that often, especially in this year. I don't remember many TV matches from her, but this was good. It was actually much better than the other matches. I liked it here because it was a finale, you know? It wasn't dragging it for some interference nonsense, none of that. Liv Morgan worked hard. Rhea Ripley worked harder, I thought. She put in the work here. She looked very big. She looked like a very big talent here and a huge star, and it was bound to end with her winning the title. She won that belt here emphatically. She destroyed Liv Morgan with the Riptide twice and followed up by destroying Dominic Mysterio's balls after he tried digging for gold. Then to top it all off, they put her over even higher by having The Undertaker come out and posing with her. Rhea Ripley is in a very great position at this point once again. With Rhea Ripley as champion, it feels like the women's title is going to feel much bigger than it is. Other than that, I will say that it was a good finale to her title reign, you know? Like, even though we might say, oh, their matches dragged, their matches weren't good, this finale was good, and to me, it was their best match in the whole feud. So there's that. The next match was between Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre. Jey Uso came out with freaking Travis Scott, even had the beginning of Fiend when he came out. Travis Scott being at this show is amazing. He's one of the biggest artists in the entire world at the moment and has a relevancy in the rap world that's matched by only a handful of people right now. He was even smoking a blunt on Raw. I didn't even notice that at first. This match started off hot, but then they realized it's Raw. It wasn't a bad match, but it wasn't noteworthy. Yeah, they got better near the end, back and forth, whatever. But we thought the result was set in stone, at least from my perspective. I thought Drew McIntyre would win here. So I was like, I didn't really care much about this match. I was looking forward to the main event. Turns out, Jey surprisingly wins. He wins it with the roll-up, and he wins it from out of nowhere to further enrage Drew McIntyre after he promised to take out every single member of the Bloodline. I don't really have much to say about this one, to be honest. The reason why I don't have much to say about it is because it felt like a Raw match, and then I realized something. This is Raw. Like, no matter how big they hype the show up, this is Raw. But Jey winning is surprising. I like surprises. They actually did one for once. It's just I don't have much to say about this one, other than Drew's gonna get angrier and he's gonna go after the rest of them. He's gonna destroy Jey. We all know how it goes. We had a lot of celebrities on this show. You know, like there was plenty of celebrities to mention here. They tried to make this show seem as grand and as big as possible. We got a lot of the wrestlers sitting front rows. It's very star-studded. The New Day were often overlooked throughout the show. They had a cheap heat moment where they mentioned something about Kendrick Lamar. It didn't show in the US, but the international fans got to see it. And we also got to see them be overlooked once again. A vignette aired of Penta officially confirming that the mystery man they were promoting for weeks, which a lot of us already knew, was Penta. Gunther had a video package here, which I didn't really get because he's the world champion. He should have been here. I don't know why they were so afraid of putting him on the show, but it is what it is. Great camera work on the show as well. It was very different. The aerial angles and all that, it was nice. Hulk Hogan came out to promote his beer, and the boos were ridiculous. I honestly feel like he came out expecting them to cheer him or something, but they were pissed. They were booing like crazy. The boos were pretty overwhelming, you know, I will say that. The boos were pretty overwhelming. The fans did not care to see him, did not want to see him. They don't like him at all. And the main event, Seth Rollins faced CM Punk. Okay, so this match had been hyped up for about a year now. Ever since Punk returned to WWE, it seemed like his first order of business was dealing with Seth Rollins. They have a lot of similarities in their career, but it stops at the point where Seth Rollins is a company man, whereas Punk is not. They had some great promos in the last couple of weeks, but the one last week was very good, and it seemed to shape up a very, very exciting Netflix debut for Raw. The match was good. I enjoyed it. The story is basically that Seth Rollins was better than CM Punk, but he often became frustrated by his resiliency. Rollins kept on dropping him, going crazy, and he felt a bit heelish here because Seth Rollins had a lot of hatred for him. There was plenty of intensity in this match, which I enjoyed. They didn't go for the collar and elbow type and that nonsense. No, they went straight to work with the fighting. Punk here looked like an older veteran who was very resilient and someone who would always say no. And that in some ways upset Seth Rollins. I'm almost calling him Seth freaking Rollins, bro. I'm not falling into the propaganda, no. So Rollins got upset as the match went by. I kind of thought there was a possibility of a heel turn there because it's the first big Netflix show, whatever. But they didn't do that. Instead, Punk fought back, made a huge comeback, kicked out of his own GTS. Rollins hit it twice, by the way. And then made a comeback with the GTS. He was very lucky to have Rollins land on him again for the second GTS to score the victory. Good match. The final parts are very enjoyable. I do like the fact that they just ended it here. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you guys and say I really want this match. I actually don't. I'd prefer other things because this match has been talked about for a while now. It's like, it has to happen. And it did here. Rollins did good here. My guy worked very hard here to make the match what it was. And I do enjoy the fact that, by the looks of it, they're not going to do it again. I'm very interested to see where these guys go heading into WrestleMania, because Rollins could go to the world title scene and Punk could go through Roman Reigns. Only time will tell, but that was a good match. I thought it was enjoyable. They did good here, but they could do a little more. They weren't going all out. So part of me does think there's a possibility of this being dragged into a feud with rematches and stuff because of the fact that they left things open. But if you had to ask me right now, I personally think the feud is done. It's just, the show felt weird. Even if a show's mid or whatever, you always want the show to close out good. And that's what they did here. Punk won it clean. He wrapped up the feud by the looks of it, and he's off to the Royal Rumble. Alright, that's Raw on Netflix. They overhyped it, I'm gonna say. At the same time, it is Raw. I did expect a bit of it to be underwhelming, but I kind of enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it more than others. I'm not gonna shill for it and say it's like some great show. Even Rock coming out didn't seem to indicate much. He was just around. There was a small tease we know with Roman Reigns, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna lead to anything at the moment. I don't know. I'm not working backstage. I'm not hanging out with Triple H, hearing him talk about the booking. We don't know what's going on. The Rock could show up for the Royal Rumble, or he couldn't. I think because Rock didn't do something big in the beginning, it kind of shaped up the show to be just there. It felt like a Raw show on steroids, basically. The Rock's whole thing is just bizarre. It's just something I didn't understand throughout the show. If you're like, what do you mean by that? First of all, he comes out as the final boss, right? He doesn't really show any characteristics as the final boss, and he talks to Cody Rhodes like he's buddy-buddy, even though this man absolutely hated his guts. It's just strange. It felt like there was no continuity with his storylines, which is also the reason why some people believed Rock is not coming back anytime soon, because they didn't continue any of his stories. But even if Rock isn't going to be around for the future, why wouldn't they try to acknowledge the previous stories? Having him be buddy-buddy with Cody Rhodes is just weird, strange. There was some aspects of it that were nice. The arena, the atmosphere, Travis Scott, but there's not much from this event and be like, hey, I have to watch it. I will say, it's always good to see WWE on Netflix. It's easier to access, and it feels like they're going to try some different things, because it's a new era. Match of the night, yeah, this one's easy. Easily the main event. The main event was match of the night. Other than that, it's just like there's not much to say about this show. It just happened. It's not like the regular Raw episodes here. They wanted to go with something that felt grand. You know, it feels a bit grand on paper, but it didn't feel like they're watching the event. So yeah. Alright, what'd you guys think of the first episode of Raw on Netflix? Please comment down below, and that's for this video. Make sure you hit the spear on the like button, perhaps the GTS and the subscribe button. Peace out.